Grab a cup of joe, buckle up, and let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Let's get rolling.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Rhythm of the Road podcast. And I know it's been a really long time, and yes, it's all my fault. And no, I'm not being selfish. However, sometimes you just have to wait for the right people. And so we have a returning guest. I think we nicknamed him the king of Trop Rock last time. So it's the return of the king today. Right, Kenny is back with us. We are super excited to hear a little bit from him. If you want to know more specific about where he came from, how he got here, and why we get to just sit here and have fun on, I believe, yet another Friday night. How this ever works out that it always is on a Friday night with us, I'm all in for it. But here we are. If you want to know more, go back and listen to episode 38. Not only is it a great episode, it's my number one episode out of all currently 78 episodes that have been released. So thank you, Kenny. We both can't decide why there's been 3,500 watched hours on that episode. I guess we were just that good.
I mean, it's stunning good looks, maybe? I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
It's the host, though, not the guest. I guarantee that.
I don't know. There's some resemblance going back and forth here. It's almost like twins. Like we have the yin and yang thing going on today. I don't know how that worked out.
We do. Well, we got the backwards hat. The glasses look very similar, I think.
Very similar.
We have the same microphone, although you can see yours a lot better in your shot than mine. But
well, you know,
my camera's a little more zoomed in than yours.
Yeah. Well, my video editor says I need to have it backed out a little bit because they need room to do things, and with this, you need room to do things. So
your video editor is the one that set this camera up, and I'm the one that's closer. So what's with that?
Wait a minute. All this crossover. What's going on here?
I don't know. It's like our lives are intertwined on a daily basis.
That's
pretty much are.
Pretty much are. Yeah.
Right from first thing in the morning, actually.
Yeah. You know, in case you don't know, because most of you don't, because we don't share our chats with you on a regular basis, but we have regular conversation daily on our morning coffee, and we don't live anywhere near each other. So
not even close. Sometimes it's just one text or two. Other times it's, a whole half-hour conversation. I think a lot of that depends on what you're doing or what I'm doing or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And, I think it's always just an awesome way to continually start the day, however that plays out. And
I look forward to it.
I do too. It's just really nice and chill. And like Tracy and I went out to a cafe yesterday morning for breakfast. And I was like, I got in there. She's a regular there. She doesn't even get asked what she wants. She just brings her normal. And then, of course, I get picked on because I'm allowed to come with her. But the waitress has like 5 or 6 tables preset because she already knows who's going to be coming in within the next half an hour.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, yeah, this is the vibe. Like, this is just that cafe vibe.
Was it one of the places that we went when we visited?
It was not. No,
okay,
but
so
I'm definitely taking you there when you come back.
Got it. I love morning coffee is so important to both of us, honestly. Yeah. And the reason I think I love our chat so much in the morning is because when we go on vacation, my friend Shorty has been on a lot of our vacations, and Nell likes to kind of lounge in bed in the morning, especially on vacation, and kind of just mess around a little bit. I like to be out of bed, having my coffee, like doing something, not in bed. And when Shorty goes along with us on vacation, he's exactly the same way. So him and I just go off and do things for an hour, probably 2 hours before other people finally get out of bed. So I enjoy that morning time. So you fill that void for me every single morning. I appreciate it.
Same, because I'm up all alone every morning by myself for at least an hour.
Same.
And before we started those chats, like I was doing that, and I think we both figured out that we both were.
Yes.
And I think it's just a good testament that you can keep carrying that on. So I want to say thank you for those morning chats, because some mornings I need them.
Well, I'll thank you too. They're important, I feel like, for both of us. And you know what's even more amazing about that is, and I'm impressed with you, is you're an hour behind us.
Yes.
So we're able to have that. That just goes to show you how early you're awake, because I know how early I'm awake. And the fact that you're already awake and you're an hour behind is impressive.
Yeah. I just, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday afternoon, and I'm just like, it doesn't matter when I go to bed. Like, I'm just up early no matter what.
Same.
And I don't know about you, and I'm gonna imagine it's similar, but for the longest time, I just like lay in bed, like, okay, well, do I just stay here till Tracy gets up, or like, and then I'm like, no, just get up.
Yeah, you feel like you should stay, right?
Yeah.
But then you're like, and then you realize at some point how much productivity you can possibly have, even if it's only just relaxing or just being with yourself or whatever. But yeah, laying in bed doesn't help me at all because I'm not falling back to sleep.
No. And to me, that's actually like makes me anxious and stresses me out.
Me too. 100% me too.
Not that it's the space or anything. It's just like my brain does that. And I think you said something really important because you talked about being productive, and I wasn't sure where you were going to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you nailed it on the head, which is really, it means you just have some time and moments to yourself. You have that chance to, whether it's checking on a few things, whether, I think you and I both try to sneak in a little bit of extra work time in the morning that we know is going to be completely uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like, at least for me on Saturdays and Sundays, I at least try to make a little bit of that extra time not doing those things and try to find something that's a little bit for me, whether it's reading or researching, right?
Yeah.
Just so that it's not always work, to kind of set a little bit of a boundary, because the work is always going to be there.
Oh, it's always, I mean, it never stops. But I tell you what it is for me in particular is Nell is not the person that's out of bed right away in the morning. So it's my time to actually be productive, because then in the evening after dinner, I can not have to be productive and we can be together without me having to do that. So it's my time, and then we can have our together time, because even if I wasn't being productive, we still wouldn't be together anyway, because she'd be still in bed. So I might as well be productive.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's like this weird balance, like, I could be really productive right now. And I'm like, or I could just not do anything. And that's okay too. So
I can watch YouTube.
Yeah. I'm starting to do that a little bit more. You got me maybe just a little bit hooked on that when you were here and watching YouTube in the morning. So I'm experimenting with that. Although I did also figure out how to get Sirius XM radio app on my TV.
Oh, nice.
And so, I got a decent sound bar, and so I can sit in our lounge area, which you know very well.
Which is really nice.
We can sit there. I can sit there and just turn on XM radio and just really do whatever. But then at least I have something going on.
Yeah. Have you listened to the Chill channel?
Yes.
Oh, we love that channel.
Yeah. Chill. I listen to the Watercolors channel a lot.
Oh, I haven't listened to that.
It's like it's jazz.
Okay.
But it's more like new age stuff. So it's not like the old swing band stuff.
Yeah, cool.
It has a like chill vibe, but it's jazz rather than more the electronic kind of more new age stuff.
Yeah.
Something different once in a while.
It is something different. That's cool. I'll have to check it out.
Typically not a lot of words, which is really what I'm looking forward to usually in the morning.
In the morning, you don't need a lot of words.
No.
You don't want
it's words, it's probably coming from Kenny on my phone. So that's good enough for me.
You're the only words coming to me in the morning. I can tell you that. There is not a single other person texting me at that time of day.
If you're listening to this and you're not watching this on video, I can't even imagine the thoughts are going through your brain right now, other than Kenny and I we just like to have a good time. We like to talk about music. We talk about bourbon. We both love morning coffee.
Yes.
And so we're fueled and ready to go for the day.
We share a love of coffee and bourbon, but we don't drink both in the morning.
Not typically.
Not typically. On vacation, maybe, but
maybe.
Not typically.
Right. Yeah, we try to avoid that even on vacation because, we too have boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. We got to have, not bourbon, it's mimosas.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're not Neanderthals.
There's orange juice in there, right? It's fruit.
That's
It's
right.
good for you.
That's right.
Start out with some vitamin C in the morning. Do something good for your body.
That is correct.
Speaking of vitamin C and music and joy and happiness, you've had quite the road over the last year or so, and you've become this, like, well, I said trop rock king in the beginning, and I truly mean it. And I know you are shaking your head and are like, no, that's not me. But I look at it more as like the king is in a space of like, I'm leading this community and people are coming to this community because they want to be in this space, and you've provided a space for them, not necessarily because it's for you specifically, although I disagree.
I'll take that. Okay. I like the way you described that. And if I'm going to allow you to go there, then I will take the way you described it right there. What I am most proud of is the community of people that it has brought together, and not just the people that it has brought to me specifically, but it brings them together once a week. Collaborations have happened just from that chat. There are songs in the works from artists that met in that chat. And there's friendships. I had a message from somebody in that chat that, was like, hey man, it's awesome. The show's great tonight. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I have guests. I'm not as active in the chat and whatnot. And he's like, oh man, don't worry about that. I have like 5 side chats going right now. I'm like, what?
There was a lot of side chats going on in a recent show. Yeah.
I'm like, that is good enough for me. I'm like, you kidding me? You got all these, who were all these side chats? And how do I get in them?
You got to be in the main chat first, Kenny.
Apparently. But yeah, that means more than anything. The family that is drawn together, people that it's connecting, collaborations that are happening because of it. That's really cool. So
yeah. And it's really fun to watch it build from the outside as well, and be able to watch that happen. And from somebody who's been in the music communities for a long time, I see a lot of parallel pieces in the trop rock space to the country space, which is where I've spent most of my time, right? Just good people, good community, good collaborations. But I actually see it even more in the trop rock space. Like, I'm truly just, it's incredible. I can't say it any other way, because it's just a wonderful community of good people. And then I think about, like, who doesn't like sunshine and beaches and umbrella drinks and bourbon and
I don't know,
people sitting on a stool playing guitar, singing songs?
That's pretty much what trop rock is.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's what country is too. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of trop rock artists that have pure country songs too. I play them on the show because I like them.
So tell us a little bit about the show. It's had a little bit of a transformation in the recent.
It has.
As we're recording this, you just did your brand new version of your new show in your new space. This will be out a couple weeks later, so you'll be a few weeks in by the time folks are seeing and hearing this. However, tell us a little bit more about that show and where it's living currently.
Okay, so the show currently is, like, as you said, we just did our first episode, our first live show. First of all, it's a live show, and it lives on Radio Trop Rock on a Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, and so on and so forth. For your time zone, you can figure that out. I'm not going to do the math sitting right here, but it is a live trop rock show that blends some country, that blends some reggae, that blends even a little bit of rock and roll into it. And that's just because some of the artists kind of cross over a bit. It's not like I go seek those songs out, but I don't pick artists and specifically play their trop rock music. If they have a killer country tune or a killer reggae tune, we play that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we're supporting the artists in their endeavors, and they're close enough that they fit. And that's really one of the things that's cool about Radio Trop Rock. If you listen to it, you'll hear all of those things. You'll hear straight country songs. If you take a little time, you'll hear reggae songs. The artist that in February was #1 on their Buzzin' Dozen, Greg Mahaley, he only has a couple of trop rock songs. He was purely country and rock and roll before that. So it's everything fits.
And I think that's the part that I like about it. And the fact that you continue to support independent artists and really give them an opportunity to have a space,
Mm-hmm.
to have their music played and talked about. And that's in addition to the community piece.
Yeah.
And you mix in some of your favorites, right? Sometimes you're just like, hey, I'm feeling this. And I think that's what makes the live experience feel so real, is because sometimes I've listened to your shows and you're like, we're just doing this because this is what I'm feeling right now.
I do that a lot. But I also play off of the reaction from the live chat. So during the show, we have a live chat, which you can access through the Facebook group. Hopefully, by the time this episode releases, I will have been able to change the Facebook group name to what it should be. I didn't realize at first that when you can only change a Facebook group every 28 days as far as the name goes. And when I transitioned the name of the group away from the name that it used to be, just kind of a stopgap, it won't let me change it again for 28 days. The chat name has been changed, and you can do that as much as you want. But so right now it's just FF&B is the Facebook group, but it'll be the Livin Like Kenny radio show presented by Box 7 Media is what it'll be in 3 weeks. 21 days.
That'll be about the time that this thing goes live, so you should be good to go by then.
Might be perfect. So look for it there. But my point to the live chat is I play off of the crowd a little bit. If I'm playing certain things and the chat is kind of hype about it, then I'll incorporate more tunes of that style because people are feeling it. And if you can keep them going, that keeps them there.
Right. So that reminds me of like when I'm playing gigs and we're playing, like, typically that's going to happen like either in a bar scene or like a corporate event or something like that, where you're like, you need to watch and read the crowd, right? We call it reading the crowd. Like, what do they want? Like, if they want to get rowdy, let's get rowdy a little bit. Although it is nice to, tame them back a minute so that they don't get too crazy, because they still need to fill their drinks. But
it's true.
I think you do exactly that. So it's like you're being the leader of the band, so to speak. But that's what DJs do, right? They're leading the space.
Yeah.
And you do that really well, and it makes it feel like those folks are heard. And then when you play their music and you talk about it, and other, like, people are chiming in on that thing. Sometimes I have to turn off my notifications if I'm not actually listening to the show, because
crazy.
I'm in that chat and they go crazy.
Yeah. It was insane this week. Nell told me, because Nell was kind of manning the chat a bit, and she told me it never stopped. It never slowed. And I mentioned it a couple times, like, sorry guys, like I'm not in the chat as much tonight. I'm really paying attention to my guest. And a couple of them were like, man, it doesn't matter. We're holding it down. We're doing our thing over here. Like, you do your thing. We got the chat. Like, the people basically ran the chat on Wednesday night. It was amazing.
Yeah. And there were some new folks in there that hadn't been in there before.
Yes.
So that was fun to see.
It was really fun to see, honestly. And I can't wait to play for the Radio Trop Rock listeners some of your stuff.
We'll get there.
Santa Monica Sunrise.
Oh,
I plan to play that this coming week. So
well, that's on
my. It's already in my weekly show folder. So it's ready to go. That's that's a peek into my preparation.
Oh, you guys are getting a sneak peek right here on the Rhythm of the Road podcast.
You know who's been popular too, Jeremy? I feel like I have to say this, and it's because you know him well and you play with him as well is Shane's been popular.
I noticed that.
Yeah, people dig his stuff, and he has a bunch of stuff that fit, even though I don't think he goes out specifically to make trop rock music.
No.
But maybe he should a little bit.
Yeah, he has he tries to live a little bit in what I would consider like that Zach Brown space.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much of the Kenny Chesney where it would feel a little bit closer to that trop rock space maybe, but definitely the island Zach Brown vibe. Because
I agree.
His new song is not trop rock, but it's really good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really good. So
people have been kind of digging it. I kind of plugging him, and because they've been digging it, and I want to support him because he was so nice to us when we were there. And, but it's easy when you're playing somebody that the people are vibing to, and it's like, oh crap, they like his stuff. So I'm going to keep playing it every week because people dig it.
Yeah. Well, he does a lot of trips, but they're mostly down to Florida, like Destin, kind of that area. Him and his wife go down there often.
Yeah.
But his daughter goes to college down in Florida. So
got it.
But he needs to make a trip, and you need to have him on the show.
Does he play gigs while he's down there, or is it just like a vacation?
Before, okay. Yeah, he'll bring a guitar and stuff, and he'll play gigs down.
He fits that Gulf Coast kind of thing, man.
He totally
especially the panhandle of Florida, and more like the Gulf Shores, Alabama to panhandle of Florida, that sort of area. Like his style fits that.
Yeah, and when he does like his solo one-man band kind of stuff, he does lots of looping and all that kind of, like those one-man band things.
Yeah.
Right. And he's really good and people like it. And just so you know, every time I go to play a gig with him, because I played one with him a couple weeks ago, I'm like, hey, just so you know, Kenny's still playing your tunes on this radio station and all. I don't know if you're listening, but you need to be.
Yeah.
So
I know he's got a lot going on, and I've reached out to him a few times, and he'll respond after a few days usually. But I'm not offended by it. He's just a busy guy.
Yeah, don't feel bad. He doesn't respond to me for a couple of days either, and that's totally cool.
So, well, I didn't feel bad, but that does make me feel better.
But people probably say that about me too, so that's totally. I get it.
No, you respond to me all the time, so that's good enough for me. Okay,
don't let that secret out.
People, he takes 3 days to respond to me. He never gets back to me.
Never. At least 3 days. At least
3 days.
So, tell me a little bit about maybe some vision that you have for what maybe is next for the show now that you're kind of starting to land in this radio trop rock space. Like, what's the next piece of that?
I would like to MC some like music festivals. That is kind of separate from the show, but still kind of intertwined. I think that would be cool. But as far as the show goes, at this point, my vision is to keep bringing up artists that, maybe don't get the airtime all the time. And that's been what has brought the show to where it is, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I had one artist reach out this week when I mentioned about the station change. Let's just say that. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we really appreciate what you've done, and we hope that what you've done is going to stay the same, because you kind of made some of us famous. And I'm like, what? How is that? I mean, I had one comment like that. I'm like, how is that possible? And they're like, you played our stuff when we couldn't get other people to play it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, that's really something. So my immediate goal is to continue exactly that. Play all the stuff I vibe to, play Zach Brown, play Kenny Chesney, play Jimmy Buffett, play all of, the artists you're going to hear on every trop rock station that you turn to, but also play a bunch of the artists that you might not hear on other stations or other shows. And because it's live, it has an audience that gets them the exposure immediately, rather than if it's just a playlist and people are vibing to it at their house, they may be thinking, oh, that's a cool song, but they don't ever stop to think who it might be or like that kind of stuff. But when you're doing it live and you're in the chat like that, people take the time, who's this? And then you tell them and they're like, oh, I got to check that out. So that's the immediate goal for the show, is to continue to build up the artists that maybe are struggling to get some airplay.
I mean, obviously being a studio owner and a producer and, creative myself, I'm grateful because you allow some of the music that I've contributed to on your show as well. So thank you. But because I want to also help you give back to those artists, why don't you just name a few here?
Okay.
Name a few that you play in, maybe just kind of on a regular basis. I know you kind of have a group of regulars, that especially chat contributors, and
Yes.
we'll make sure that we get some links to either their music or their website or something down below in the show notes, so that people who are arriving here can have a chance to be like, hey,
yeah,
these guys are spouting off for ever about this music. I have to know what's going on.
Yeah, so I don't want to play favorites, obviously, but I can tell you, and I don't want to also insinuate that these guys need me to to have their music successful, because that is as the furthest thing from the truth. However, there are several people, and I do want to shout out several that have been really standards in the show since the very beginning. Guys like Jeff Randall, Beth Travers, David Key. David Key sent me his music. He's like, nobody will play it. Tiki Jim Cormier, Greg Mahaley down in Pensacola Beach. When I played some of his stuff, he said it was the first time that it had ever been played on the radio. And now he had a song in February that was #1 on Radio Trop Rock's most requested list. His song, Sunshades on 30A.
Okay. Great song, by the way. Make sure you check that out.
Killer song. But those guys have been there every single week. John McDonald, he's not always in the chat. I think sometimes John, he will tell you he's a little technology deficient, but his better half, Donna, is all over it. she's his marketing genius. So I was just talking to Donna today, actually. We were messaging back and forth. But those guys have been there from the very beginning. Jenny Lee Brown, listening to the show from the very beginning. And now all the other people now, they're there every single week. The ones that are out there, that they don't need me, I need them. Manalo, James Drakes, Jesse Rice, those guys, they're stars. But you know what? They're there. Manalo's there. Jesse Rice messages me, stuff like that. They're stars, but they appreciate it's a brotherhood, really. But yeah, but some of those guys I named first were the very first ones that showed up every single week when the chat had just a couple of people in it, and we still had fun.
Yep.
We still had fun. Yeah. So those guys.
Yeah. And here's the disclaimer. Those were listed in no preferential order.
No, none.
In terms of liking or the order of ranking of anything other than the fact that that's what popped in right at the moment.
Yes.
And I can attest to that, because you would say that you would mix up that order every time you said it if you could.
Well, 100%. Plus, I didn't know you were going to ask me that question. I didn't know you were going to say that. So I had nothing prepared.
This was not prompted.
This was not prompted at all. But, just, man. And so I will also say, going forward for the show, Nell's going to be more involved. So we have some ideas, because the chat loves Nell. Nell was running for president not this past week, but the week before. We have no idea how. Nell was running for president. Somebody mentioned about Nell running for president. About half hour into the show, Dave Freeman pops in the chat. I see him typing, and his first message is this a Nell Tice for president chat room? I'm like, she's like, where did this come from?
That's so what the community will do.
They like Nell, and we're gonna have her incorporated in the show more.
That'll be fun.
So we're gonna figure out how that's gonna work, but it's gonna be fun.
You should make her make up a line dance for one independent artist song every show.
I don't know that she may shoot you for saying that. That's going to give her too much work.
Okay, Nell, it just has to be a 30-second clip because we want this to fit on Instagram because we only have, 90 seconds for a reel.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Nell being a bigger part of the show. She, is going to be doing some producing because the show kind of has required that now at this point. But I want her to be over there. I want her to be on the microphone, and because I think it will work. And I've had several people now reach out, several artists actually, saying that Nell should be a bigger part of the show. So we're going to make that happen because the people have spoken. You got to give the people what they want. We talked about it with the music, but
you keep doing it. So keep doing it.
Goes past that too.
Anything else that you want to share, Kenny, about what that feels like for you right now and where you're headed? Or
what it feels like right now is it's a bit overwhelming in a good way. And I'm looking forward to next week's show, to be honest with you, because it's going to be a normal show, not an in-studio guest. And I can really kind of let loose with it and really be involved in the chat, because honestly, that's what I love the most. I love playing the tunes that we're vibing to and talking to everybody. And so that's really, that's what I'm looking for. But I'm feeling very, very grateful that Eric and Gina from Radio Trop Rock, they're the owners of Radio Trop Rock, even considered bringing this show onto their platform, and not only considered it, welcomed us with open arms. And, I also appreciate you immediately for like, how do we make this work? Let's go. You were like, I was laying in bed. You're like, how do we finalize this? I'm like, well, I'm laying in bed right now. So,
well, I don't want to know that part. Just how we move it forward.
Yeah, let's do that another day. But yeah, it's so I'm grateful for the community around that, for them welcoming us, for you supporting it. And just, this is an interesting situation because you're supporting it, but you're also along for the ride. And then we're also friends. So it's so intertwined.
Yeah.
And that feels good to me.
For the record, we're friends first.
Yes, 100%.
And those other things are just a byproduct of, those are things I believe in, right? And I'm doing them because I truly believe in them as well, right? It's not just one of those, well, I mean, Kenny's doing this, I should probably.
I would never want anyone to support something. And that's, I sent you a message. I was like, only if this works for you. This needs to I don't want this to be, hey, I'm just going to support it because he's doing it. Like, I would never want that from anyone.
Well, that's not happening over here because I'm all in. I support it 100%.
Awesome.
I said it from day one. I'm not going back on that.
We're going to the moon with this thing, and us and Livin Like Kenny and Tice Media and Box 7 Media, we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, we're building an empire, folks, that's going to land on a beach somewhere.
Trying.
And then, maybe there's a music festival in your future that is all around all of that, right? I know Radio Trop Rock, they do the festival thing, and they do show up for those events.
They definitely do. Yeah, they travel well, and Eric and Gina kind of live in that Jimmy Buffett lifestyle down on the Gulf Coast, and they can do that, and it's wonderful to see folks living the way they desire to live.
Right. So, and we're just working towards that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Kenny, it's always fun to just hang out.
It is always fun,
regardless. Yeah. But thanks for coming back to the Rhythm of the Road podcast. You are welcome here anytime. We can hang out on a Friday night and have a conversation about, well, legitimately whatever comes up, because as you already heard, there's all sorts of unprompted unknowns and all of those pieces that go on here. And that is just evident again today. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Get all of your information and all of the places folks can connect with you down in the show notes and in the description. And please make sure that you are following Kenny, following his movement of that Trop Rock community on Radio Trop Rock. Livin Like Kenny, Wednesday nights, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central, which is where I'm at. So I'm checking it out then, which is really great. Thank you, because now it's after dinner and it's amazing. So thank you. So please make sure you check out the show. Also, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, they do replays.
They do replays. I need to, unfortunately, we didn't discuss when they're going to be playing the replay, so I need to either look or ask.
Well, I believe that they're putting them on SoundCloud because I think a birdie might have put it inside of a message, and I saw a link. So
yes, Eric shared it in the chat, and then they shared it on Facebook, and I did the same. But they're also going to be doing a replay on the actual station too. I just don't know when they're going to be doing it. But yeah, via the link, you can get it anytime.
Right. So you can listen to Kenny all day long, every day, if you want to, as this show builds even more momentum.
I would appreciate it if you did.
And so
I don't think you're going to, but I appreciate it if you do.
And so would all the artists. So thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being somebody who supports live music, somebody who supports independent artists and their growth. Even sometimes just reaching out a hand and giving them an opportunity. Mm-hmm. We all know that one piece can be a game changer for somebody, and we don't even know it. So thank you for doing that.
Well, you're welcome. But I also know that, people have given me a chance on many occasions, and, you have to return the favor sometimes. And it's wonderful to do so. And it's wonderful to be on this journey.
There you go. There's the mic drop moment of the show. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you down the road.
Thanks for cruising with me on this episode of Rhythm of the Road. Remember, the journey itself is the destination. Until next time, keep the rhythm flowing, and we'll see you down the road.